ladies and gentlemen, namaste and a very warm welcome to all of you to the Blub World Web Talks 145th episode. Thank you so much for joining in. In the last 144 episodes, we have talked to, interacted with more than 2,500 school leaders on this very platform, trying to understand from them what all innovative, what all new, what all amazing are they doing in the K-12 space, or put it very simply, what's new in schools. Thank you so much for joining in. Today, we're going to talk about something that's very critical and very important to the future of the generation that we're trying to teach, trying to understand that the kind of skills that we'll all need, or these children will need in a multi-career future. Thank you so much, people. Once again, a very warm welcome to the Blub World Web Talks 145th episode. Let me invite the first speaker for today to set the ball rolling, or typically put the things in the right perspective so we have a much more meaningful discussion. A very warm welcome to Professor Mike Knowles, Professor Emeritus, the School of Creativity, FRSA, University of the Arts, London. Mike, over to you for the next 5 minutes to initiate the discussion on skills for a multi-career future.
Thank you very much indeed, Daksh. Greetings, everybody. Lovely seeing you. I'm not in Arabia, as it looks like on the backdrop. I'm actually in London. But that's a backdrop I use for when I'm talking to lots of students about AI. Because I talk to them about AI as being the genie that's in Aladdin's lamp. And that's what it is. So when Doug said the whole thing about fear, I don't think there's any need for fear. I genuinely don't. What I have learned from these several times I've done this, and I spend most of my time in India when I can, but it's difficult at the moment, is that we have the most amazing professionals in the teaching industry. In India, you guys are tremendous, you do a fantastic job. And in your hands, your students don't need to be fearful. We just need to guide them in the direction where it's all going. And the last year and a half, let's be positive about these guys. The last year and a half, despite all the negativities, has brought about a huge amount of positive change. We all see things differently. I think we're much clearer now about where we're going, how the world is going to progress. Certainly here in the UK, we're finding that because of technology, science, whatever else, we're beginning to, I'm not saying that we've beaten the virus, but we understand it much better, which helps us get a degree of control, and that's where it's going. And it is the whole thing for skills of the future just comes down to one basic thing, as far as I can see, and that is allowing our young people to be human, allowing them to be the people that they were born, to have the God-given or the evolved skills that we've taken out of them. And that chief skill is creativity. We've taken away their creativity. Not you guys, not India, the worldwide education system that was put up at the time of the Industrial Revolution, that was there and it drained young people's creativity. Once you put that creativity back into them, they discover, as you all know, much better than I do, they discover themselves. And when they discover themselves, they find their way through this maze, and they make this maze amazing. You know, yesterday I went to the Design Biennale in London at Somerset House. There was a very good stand from India yesterday on sustainability. But what it showed is that young people now are really beginning to understand this world of AI, of high tech. They're knowing how to use it. Let me come back again. I can't be more forceful than that. Let's come back to the thing about Aladdin's lamp. Aladdin's lamp. Sorry, I'm in London. Let me go back to India and say Aladdin's lamp. Yeah? And how magic and how powerful that is. But it's magic and it's powerful in the hands of creative young people. It has no creativity. Aladdin's genie didn't know what to do, had to be told. That's what AI is all about. And those are the skills that we need to get into our young people to make sure they have a magic and successful future. And there was a report some months back from Harvard Business Review. It's a great review if you ever want to check it out. It gives very, very good teaching, sort of material. The main skills of the future: communication, the ability to communicate. If we talk about creativity, I'm not talking about people just being in the design industry. I'm talking about creative doctors, creative lawyers, creative engineers, creative architects. You know, it's what it's all about, but creative, finding new stuff, digging it out, not being content with the status quo. The first thing that they talk about is, as I say, communication. We've got to help them now. The media that we have between us now, thank goodness, is very successful, but we've got to know how to use it. Again, irrespective of what career. You know, a creative lawyer will be using this media or infinitely. That's what we've got to help them understand content more, to get much more understanding, to be much more out of themselves, whatever. Things that Harvard said, emotional competence and an ethical compass. This comes down to one basic factor, our strongest. That's why I'm saying it's so simple. Our strongest emotion, empathy, not hate or fear or lust or greed or any of those things, empathy. And empathy is the beginning. Having an empathetic understanding of a problem is the beginning of a person who is a critical thinker. That is the absolute beginning. Is it difficult for us to help our youngsters to rediscover their empathy? You know better than I do that that's not the case. So bringing them into that. When they go for an interview as a lawyer, a doctor, a rocket scientist, whatever they do, if they're listening to the person in front of them, if they're understanding the problem, then they will get the job. And that's what it's all about. So it's all very, very exciting. It really genuinely is. When we've finally done away with this disease, we will walk away much, much more powerful people. And within the next 5 years, the power of AI will be phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Thank you so much, Mike. The first 5 minutes were over. There's a small nuance in the format that it's a timed format. So once the speaking time is over, you might get muted. If you get muted, please don't get offended. It is just to finish the activity on time. Keep it much more engaging and much more crisp. I think Mike made some amazing points to initiate the discussion today, moving it from the fear factor to the skilling factor or the understanding of the future factor, where you try to understand technology, where you try to understand the Aladdin's genie of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and making kids or typically teens or rather the future generation quite much more ready for handling a future filled with technology. Most importantly, what he next focused on, creativity has been taken away, and that had been done in quite a structured manner. We must now focus on enforcing creativity once again, or typically reinforcing it in all the teens or the children that we have. Again, doing it very systematically, trying to reverse the process that has already taken place. AI is the Aladdin's genie, and we need to understand how to ride that genie. Because as of now, it is always portrayed as an evil villain in every education conversation. But we need to understand that villain will be a big enabler when we talk of education, when we talk of careers, or when we talk of learning for life. Thank you so much, Mike, for initiating the discussion. Let me invite the next speaker for today to share their thoughts. And now we'll be listening to school principals who try to teach children who are passive learners. And when we try to teach passive learners, and what we want to teach them is the process of learning, that is where the new challenge really comes up, how to make them active learners and typically give them a transition from a receiver to somebody who evaluates, somebody who understands, and somebody who integrates and enables many more people. So let me invite the first school principal or the school perspective to the discussion, Mrs. Nandini Shekhar, Principal DPS HRIT Ghaziabad, Uttar Pradesh. Nandini ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute your audio and a very warm welcome.
A very pleasant good evening to all of you. I think the topic has set the ball rolling, and it's a very hot topic of today's discussion. And I feel that in today's era, where the technological developments and the advancements are on a roller coaster ride, it becomes very important and imperative for us that we need to develop skills in our students. Now, without skilling, the way the world has moved forward, and during these unprecedented times when the digital platforms had taken place, Now, we need to learn all the necessary skills which are important for our students, and and we also need to discover that what are the skills that we need and which are the skills we don't need. But as a matter of fact, our life is a skill in itself. Our personality is a wholesome integration of skills. When we say holistic personalities, it means the person is quite skilled in all the emotional aspects or technical aspects or uh, hard skill aspects of life. So we have seen that humans have always been intelligent enough. And from the time when the wheel was invented till the time we are here on this AIs and automation industries is taking a boom at present. So what is that what needs to be done that our children become skilled in most of the way? So we need to empower our children. We need to give them social acceptance, and that will only and safeguard their future. So nothing is possible without being skilling the children. We have to skill the children for this, and it is a important aspect of academic learning as well. What do we expect from the students? We expect from the students that they will make a world a better place to live in. So how can they make this world a better place? Only if we provide them infrastructure, we provide them motivation, encouragement, appreciate them, and show them the right path, and give them some kind of avenues where different kind of skills can be inculcated and imbibed by them. And that thing only school or the educational institutions do. Every school, every educational institution, I'm not talking of schools only, I'm talking of educational institutions at large, they're actually working on a very, I think each and every activity that they do from morning till time the college or school gets over is basically skilling the children. Assembly is a great way to create awareness, skill in them. When they are doing a lot of competitions, oral competitions or debating and all that, oral skills are being enhanced. The children are also learning shouldering responsibility through investiture ceremonies. So every aspect of life, if we'll see in a college or a school or education institutions, that is basically helping the child to inculcate certain kind of skills, which becomes very important for children. And children or students, that when they grow up, they are a wholesome personalities in themselves. So what are the, in college or in education institutions, we see teamwork, collaboration.
Thank you so much, Nandini, ma'am. The 3 minutes were over, but you said some amazing stuff. Let me summarize first. We'll try to come back to you once again. So, आपने जो बातें कही उसमें से कुछ important बातें जो आगे discussion में जाएंगी. Developing skills is the most critical element for now. We have to move from that syllabus to the skill focus of it, and skilling would be the right kind of equipment that we'll be giving to our students to handle a future that's quite uncertain, and that you capped with encouragement. कि एक बार आप स्किलिंग कर दें उसके बाद उनका इतना पॉजिटिव रीइंफोर्समेंट करें कि उनका कॉन्फिडेंस उस स्तर का हो कि वो स्किल को इस्तेमाल कर पाए. So thank you, Nandini ma'am, for adding this perspective to the discussion. That format limits us to put you on mute once the 3 minutes are over, but there's an open floor at the end when we'll try to again get back to your points. Let me invite the next speaker for today, Ms. Anu Arora, the principal of SL Suri DAV Public Senior Secondary School from New Delhi. Anu ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute your audio, and a very warm welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I would like to say that we need to change our focus today. We are in a very knowledge-based education system as of now. We are just transacting information, just passing it on to the students. I think we need to focus on the soft skills. And here I would like to say that not only IQ is important, EQ is equally important. Social quotient is also important. Spiritual quotient is also important. And most important is the adaptability quotient, where the mentality for change, acceptance of change, the love of learning has to come in. We have had to accept so much of change in the past 1.5 years. I think unless we had that mentality of adaptation, adaptability, and mentality of change, we won't have been able to do it. So we have to develop it even further in our children, because the times we are heading into are going to be times of change. So we cannot keep telling them that this is the way things are to be done and this is the right way. There is not going to be a right path and a wrong path. There are going to be various paths coming up which we might have to choose from. So unless a child has the love for learning, he knows how to research something, he knows how to find out what is right and what is wrong for him, he won't be able to choose a path. And these are the skills we need to impart to our children today. We spend our time in school telling them to color inside the box, and then we tell them to think outside the box. So isn't that a mistake we are making in our system? So I think we have to somewhere correct this mistake and make our children lovers of learning and tell them that learning doesn't end in school or in college or in institute. It doesn't end throughout our life. So we have to learn from every experience we are having and build on whatever adaptability, social, spiritual, emotional skills we have. Because these soft skills are going to be the most important skills in our life in today's world and in tomorrow's world. That's all I would like to say.
Thank you so much, Anupam. I think आपके आज की जो पूरा talk था उसके अंदर I think Shakespeare again found life that nothing is good or bad, thinking makes it so. और हमें कहीं ना कहीं वापस उस thinking पे जाना होगा that let's start developing that thinking, that process of thinking, the process of learning. क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं हमें decision making सिखानी है, हमें problem solving सिखाना है. Or rather, what we can say, we have to teach them that how do you teach yourself or how do you learn? Because वो बहुत ज़्यादा change हो रहा है. The pace of change is something that's not very easy to cope up with, even for us as adults, and for them, it's again a very big dream that's not very easy to achieve. Then you talked about love of learning has to come in. There is nothing that's right that we explored on कि हमें वो दो रास्ते नहीं हैं जिंदगी में, बहुत सारे multiple options हैं और आपको हर एक को हर कसौटी पे evaluate करना होगा at every point of time. So you need to have that skill of evaluation and understanding what's good for you, what's bad for you, और कहीं ना कहीं the basic essence of education, the wisdom, building the wisdom within that child that, okay, should I be doing this or should I not be doing this? So thank you so much, Anu ma'am. Let me invite the next speaker for today, Mrs. Ruchira Bhatnagar, Principal Bal Bharati Public School, Indraprasth Yojana from Ghaziabad, Uttar Pradesh. Ruchira ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute your audio and a very warm welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Daksh, and very good evening to all the people present here. Most of the things have already been said by Nandini madam and Anu ma'am. I too believe in this, that skills needs to be enhanced, and as per our new education policy, government has also started looking into this aspect. But I truly believe in one thing, that life skills, the true values is to be inculcated, right? Aajkal the values are more important, I believe. Agar hum ek acha insaan bana payenge, to things will follow. And these things are really missing nowadays. We need to develop this skill, and accordingly, a child will learn basic few skills in which he or she has passion in it. Agar bachche ke andar passion hoga, मेरे को 3 Idiots याद आ जाता है, पिक्चर जब हमने देखी थी, तो जिसमें बच्चे में पैशन होगा वो बच्चा बहुत अच्छे से अपनी चीजों को कर लेगा, otherwise he will not enjoy living his life. So I also believe in it कि हमें अपनी education pattern को बदलना बहुत जरूरी है. We need to change our education pattern, wherein the rote learning was कि हमने पढ़ा था वो हम पढ़ाते जा रहे हैं, and the same books we have been reading for so long. Like what I have started during my school days, my children, I am teaching the same thing to my children as well. And after teaching 8 or 9 periods, everything is coming out automatically. So this thing has to be stopped. We need to give more emphasis on practical learning rather than theory learning, which is missing in our country. So I believe that the first and the foremost thing is to develop this quality of life skills. Children need to learn the values first, then they need to be more empathetic, and they need to follow their passion, and they should have that leadership skill where they can decide that yes, this is good for me and this is not good for me. They can take decision, and they can follow their passion the way they want to. And right from the, what I would say, right from the kindergarten, we can say, ki, yes, learning can be done in different ways. It's not that giving homework and just teaching them bookish language. I don't believe in that. And moreover, the most important thing, we need to change the perception of our parents as well, because this is the most important thing which we need to do. Right at the Montessori level, parents wants to make them a doctor or an engineer. They want us to give them more homework or give them bookish language, which I don't believe in, right? So perception of parents needs to be changed. Perception of society needs to be changed. And we educators, the teachers, the principals, we all can play an important role in.
Thank you so much, Ruchir. The 3 minutes were over. But to summarize what you said, value over skills या value with skills या value versus skill, ये ऐसी एक लड़ाई है जो बहुत जने continuous कर रहे होते हैं. लेकिन I think इन दोनों को साथ साथ में चलना होगा. These are the two parallels that we'll have to draw. And अभी तक जिन skills का हमारा as a school, as an institution, the expectation was that these all things the student will learn from his home. Value will come from home, skill will come from home. That has shifted now to the school because the priority has changed from academics to from syllabus. Now it's to skills and to values. We cannot teach what we have taught, because I think there's a big paradox when we talk of education, and that's typically across the world. A lot of countries are doing a lot to, fight that out. We always take a gap of 2 generations to the student, because हम अपने से पिछली generation से पढ़ते हैं और अपने से अगली को पढ़ाते हैं. तो हमेशा 2 generations का gap अपने साथ हम ढो के लेके जाते हैं. This is something that has to be changed, and dramatically changed rather. Changing the perception of the parent. I think now the school has the right kind of power, the right kind of attraction, because you have everybody in your classes. You have the parents, you have the dada dadis, you have everybody in the whole family looking at your classes. So school right now would be the right organization to do a social change where they can really change the perception of the society and the expectations that people have from education. Thank you so much, Ruchira ma'am. Let me invite the next speaker for today, Mrs. Ranju Malhotra, Principal DBN AV from Jammu and Kashmir. Ranju ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute your audio, and a very warm welcome.
Thank you so much, Mr. Daksh. A very pleasant evening to everybody. Moving straight away on my topic, which says skills of multiple career future. When we talk about multi-career, we talk about 2 kinds of multi-career. One in which the person changes the job but remain in the same profession. And another one by changing the job and the profession too. For example, being a teacher for 2 years and for next 2 years can be a content writer and can move on to yoga trainer and so on. So when we talk about our own generation, which is the millennium or Generation X, we always used to look forward to have one kind of a job. And we used to feel happy sticking on to the same job for years to come. But when we talk about these present Z generation and the present teen, they do not feel like confining themselves to a single kind of a job opportunity. They would rather like to change their job from depending upon their likes, depending upon their hobbies, need not to say depending upon their mood as well. So for this generation getting into the multiple future job, they need to develop multiple skills as well to get into that multiple career in future. We all are aware about the soft skills that most of the members talked about, the core skills that we all know, like problem solving, critical thinking, teamwork and all. And we know that we cannot move ahead without these soft skills. But apart from these, we also need to develop the new skills, which also talks about career management, the commercial awareness. The children should be aware of what all is coming up in the market for them. Need not to mention about the effective communication, how fluent are they with their expression in putting up their thoughts. According to the World Economic Forum, we need to rescale ourselves with the changing time. The shelf life of a skill which used to be 30 years has now reduced to 6 years in this fast-paced world, which means the time required to qualify your skill might be already out by the time you step into the market world. So there is a requirement for the teens of today to look for the skills that would help them out after 5 to 6 years down the lane, to help them out to establish themselves well in the market, as I mentioned, besides the soft skills, which are very, very important. Since the world is getting globalized, and we all know we cannot talk about, we cannot go without saying about digitalization, as the world is digitalized, I'm sorry. So when we talk about digital skills, we talk about digital designing, digital marketing, coding, programming, and as a result of which our new education policy also lays stress on skill-based education system. So having a portfolio of these digital skills in the present world, I'm sure it would help out the present generation Z to get their dreams of future multiple careers. Thank you so much from my side.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And I think you added a very important perspective to the discussion, that we rather live in a lifestyle where we think education is one silo of things and our real life is one other silo of things, which is not the case anymore, because we had a skill shelf life or a gap between learning something and finally executing it, which does not exist anymore. When you even say from 30 years of a shelf life to coming to finally 6 years, we think that even that 6 years of a time will only be for very critical skills. For the typical normal skills, it won't be even that much. So we'll have to typically learn while we earn. So it has, the phrase will actually, go the opposite way. Learning while you're earning from, you'll have to learn while you earn. During that complete process, you'll have to keep upgrading yourself at every step. And you talked about career management. I think that will be a very important skill now, because once you change your job and if you change your profession, the kind of anxiety, the kind of crisis that you'll face, you'll have to learn to deal with it and still stay positive and happy with whatever is happening around you. And most importantly, that talked about commercial awareness of things and trying to understand the financial aspect or the money aspect of how the money is driven, either for that skill or for that profession, is something very important that we all need to now understand. Because when you upgrade yourself, you'll always have to be commercially aware of the different perspectives of that skill and its market implications. So thank you so much, Anju ma'am. Let me invite the next speaker for today, Ms. Aditi Roy, the principal of Mount Columbus School from New Delhi. Aditi ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute your audio, and a very warm welcome.
Good evening, everyone. And I'll have to hurry my points because it's only 3 minutes. So I take from Mike's genie, the Aladdin's lamp and the genie. And I think over the past, 2-3 decades, as me being an educator, we have created enough genies and we have told them what is to be done. Now I think it's time that this genie has to be led out into the open and find a vocation for itself. Like, please, we have done enough for you. Now find out your own vocation. That is what I think we need to do at present. And we remember that we always have to keep on going back, that we are in a VUCA world, right? Which is very volatile, unpredictable, ambiguous, and complex. We don't know what is coming to us. And we also know that every child is born with certain set skills. Problem is, we do not enhance those skills. Half of the skills remain dormant in the child. We only teach them what we feel is good for them. So I think we need to either, upskill these latent talents in the kids, which are already there, but it's not worked upon. And that's the reason, nothing great is happening. We are always going back to blaming the education system. We go back blaming us, but nothing great is actually coming out of it. So I think we need to now look beyond, explore, beyond the learned. Because if I'm talking about a child in nursery or a KG or class 1 or even class 5, 10 years, 15 years hence, what is going to happen? What kind of job is going to be there in the market? Neither today sitting here, I know, nor anyone here knows about what kind of job is going to be there. Actually, 2 years back in 2019, or rather 2020 February also, we were not sure what was going to happen with our lives. And now we see how different it has become totally. So it makes, actually it's a futile effort if we think that, okay, I'll give this skill to the child, and this child after 15 years will now be a Terminator kind who will be able to, do everything. That's not possible unless we only do one thing with the child, and that is the child learns to adapt to situations. Simple one thing, that the child has to be adaptable and flexible to any kind of situation, has to have the presence of mind. And only these are the things which we as educators need to work on, that let the child, develop new ecosystems which can come into being. We never know what is going to happen? So in such a case, if a child is, better at managing self, we have been, teaching our teachers, training our teachers, stress management, anger management, or even the kids, let us just teach them self-management. If they can manage themselves, they'll be out in the open anywhere you put them. They can go to space, they can go deep sea, they will be successful. I am very sure. Right? Is my time up, Daksh, or should I continue?
The time's up now, man. Thank you so much. We are quite on time. And आपने जो बातें कही उन points में से what we can take to the next level in the discussion is we cannot tell the genie anymore what to do. And I think that's very, very important. Now you're not writing a prescription anymore as a teacher or as an educator. You right now are just an enabler, taking him to the next step. And most importantly, the point that you bring in is to make them self-aware, trying to develop his intrinsic latent talents that we normally ignore. We start with our syllabus, rather we should start with his personality traits. It has to be much, much more personalized. We'll have to look very, very much on his own understanding, his perceptive analysis, his view of the world. Because until and unless we understand that, we won't be able to align to his intrinsic talents and try to nurture them in the right ways possible. And thank you so much, Aditi ma'am, for adding this point to the discussion. Let me invite the next speaker for today, Ms. Seema Guleria, the Vice Principal of Adriel High School from New Delhi. Seema ma'am, over to you for the next 3 minutes. Please unmute your audio and a very warm welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gaur, and good evening, everybody. Well, this topic is very interesting, and I think I have only 4 or 5 points to say. And first thing is that every child or every individual is born with some skill set. So it's very important for a parent first to accept your child the way they are, the skill they have. They need to recognize it, what sort of skill they are born in and how they can enhance it, how they can motivate it. And I think one of the respected principal have, she has told that, it is very important to change the perception of the parent. And today's time, positive parenting is very, very important, where the freedom of learning and freedom of thinking is not at all being accepted by the parents and even some schools as well. So it is very important. And as Ms. Bhatnagar said, that life skills, very important. If you're able to give them the life skills, I think they will be self-independent to find their own path. For example, I was having the I would like to, give my example here. My father had recognized when I was in a very early stage that he wants to be, that I should choose a leadership, something IAS officer or equivalent to that, for my career, because he saw that leadership skill in me. And, he motivated me throughout. He made me understand, he made me realized, and it was in my subconscious mind that I have to be something. I have to choose something strong for my life, and in a very positive way. So same thing, I think the parents should motivate and then the school should support. And अगर हम अच्छा इंसान बना पाए तो बच्चों में या किसी को भी समझ आएगी कि हमारे लिए क्या अच्छा बुरा है. Career is, there are n number of careers. As one of the respected principal, I think Ms. Ranju said that career management. When there is a lot of confusion in the life, then you will definitely switch from one career to another career to another career. But once somebody know that this is my skill and I'm born with it and this is my area, my cup of tea, I'm well sorted. I want to be a doctor, I want to be an engineer, I want to be a principal, I want to be a teacher. So then the whole life is sorted. And one thing I think at this time, in this decade, money management is very important skill. One should understand, one should know how to manage the money, how to do the financial management. That is very, very important, because no school is teaching how to make money, no school is teaching how to manage the money, no school is teaching how to utilize your money management for the future. And the reason means we see in this society that how many people are having the crisis for money management. And very sad to today I heard that one of the teacher commits suicide just because of this money mismanagement issue, and this is seriously disheartening. So all I wanted to say, give them life skill and give them freedom of learning. Accept them the way they are. Respect them, their skill set. Don't, impose your wishes and, dreams on them. So this is all I need to say. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much, Seema ma'am. And yes, हमें कहीं ना कहीं बच्चों को अपना peer या अपने बराबर का मानना होगा. we cannot still be forcing our opinion, forcing our dreams onto them, and rather forcing our expectations. We cannot prepare a list that this is what I want from you, or this is the kind of life that you should be living. Most importantly, we have to understand whatever they think is right for them, let's at least give it a fine, comfortable listening. We now as a parent, we now as the people who are nurturing these children need to learn one very important skill of deep listening. How do we listen to our children, trying to understand them much, much better? So now we've actually heard all the speakers for today. So for the next 3 to 4 to 5 minutes is an open floor. But before I open the floor for everybody, let's hear Mike on his closing thoughts on what he has to add to the discussion. And then we'll move on to, it's an open floor, then anybody can unmute and put your points out there. Mike, over to you for the next 2 to 3 minutes. Try keeping it as crisp as possible, everyone.
Boom, quick. Fabulous, wonderful. I say this every time, but I genuinely mean it. I get so much joy from listening to you brilliant people, because you've got it. You know exactly what it's all about. I mean, really, seriously, it's great. We could do with some of you people over here, to be honest, because we're losing our way in it. But that's because the West is fat and it's disappearing, but that's another subject. Couple of things that, like Aditi and Seema both said, and I'm sure everybody shares. Youngsters are born with skills. I'm sure by now some of you have seen this thing, but the program, the study that NASA did about creativity. They chose creativity because creativity is the rocket fuel of NASA ideas. And then, so just to praise it a bit, Dr. George Land, it's on YouTube, look it up, it's brilliant. Youngsters, when they're 5 years old, are 98% creative. Then we put them into the system that came out from the Industrial Revolution because of countries like mine that wanted to take over the world. And so the system was there to force them to become what the system wanted them to be, not who they were. So by the time they're 12, their creativity has come down to 30%. By the time that they are 16 and 18 and looking seriously at their careers, it's come down to 12%. It's an abuse. It's child abuse. What it means from us, that all we have to do is that, as we've just said, just the premise, they're born creative. What we need to do is, when the system stripped it off, we as educators need to put it back in. And we do that not by teaching, as you guys know, we do it by mentoring. We take the individual and the layers that have been stripped off from them, we put them back on. And that's what we do. That's why with the Rishi Hood, the first school that we set up at the university, I have a very involved team around me, Rishi Hood, brilliant people, was the School of Creativity. And that's it. And it really isn't a difficult thing. And I'd love to have more time to talk to you about it, but you can talk to us at Rishi Hood about it. The only thing that comes out from me on this, and there's many times that I've done this thing, universities need to be doing more. I know we're talking about youngsters and interaction into industry, et cetera, but I have a huge industry connect at Rishi Hood, and I should be sharing that with your students, and we'll do it. Just tell us what we do and how we do it. So yeah, wonderful, absolutely wonderful listening and working with you guys, really genuinely is.
Thank you so much, Mike. So the next 3 to 5 to 4 minutes is an open floor. अगर आप म्यूट कर दिए गए थे, कोई ऐसी चीज थी जो आप बोलना चाहते थे, कुछ ऐसा था जो रह गया है, तो अगले 4 से 5 मिनट केवल उसी के लिए हैं कि कोई भी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट छूटे ना. एंड मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंटली, दिस इज अ बाइलिंगुअल प्लेटफॉर्म. आप अंग्रेजी या हिंदी में से कोई भी भाषा इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि भाषा कभी भी ज्ञान का पैमाना नहीं होता. So anybody can mute. I think Nandini ma'am wants to add something. Ma'am, over to you. You can please unmute yourself.
See, 3 minutes for a topic like this, I think that were very less. And because skills are something which is so exhaustive in itself, and it's a complete bundle of skills are there. So you cannot say that there are few skills. You take up anything and you need a lot of skills for, suppose you are in the field, then you need different kind of skills. If you are in a class, you have a different set of skills. So children should be exposed. They should be made aware about these skills. And one thing very important is to enhancing the creative and innovation skills in the students. which Mr. Mike rightly said, somewhere they get in a dormant state and they never come up. Reason being, the child is so much laced with the world outside that he is not able to explore what is there inside him. And second thing, which is our education system, is that number of children, time, syllabus, everything puts in a lot of impediments on the way. The teachers also become focused on the teaching learning process. So somewhere the skills, building up of skills take a backseat. It is good that in our curriculum, we generally we do have certain things which enhances certain aspects of personality of a child. Otherwise, if the schools are only academically based, then the skills have been put at the backside. And another thing is that emotional skills should be nurtured very beautifully in today's world, because the kind of, if we are making up very fast pace in the technological or automation industry and all these things, so we also need to balance it with the human aspect of life, where the values, empathy, listening to others, having a feeling of saying sorry and accepting others as they are, so that things are, they move in a better manner, and even the young children will have a broader aspect of thinking. The families have become nuclear families. So skills which children were learning at home earlier, they have now to be taught through different mediums to this child. So that is why what I wanted to say.
Noted.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
And
much.
we have to remember one more thing, that 70% literacy, we have only 70% literates in our country. So we have to enhance the skills, right, to provide them to provide employment to our people in future. So we have to develop skills in at all ages, and it is the most important thing now.
And only 20% people of the people are skilled.
Yes, only 20% people
20% are skilled.
Despite the fact that we are educated at our times also, and because of lack of skills, 20% of the workforce has to be trained when they get the education, when they get the job as well. So imparting skills is the most important thing nowadays.
Right. From being only literate to being educated to being skilled, we have to upgrade them at every stage. Whoever wants to add next can unmute yourself. It's an open floor now. Aditi ma'am, okay.
I think when we speak about introducing skills and all, we just need to do one thing. I mean specifically, and that would be like we always, and since I have been at least around 28, 29 years into this entire rigmarole of education, I would say that it's not the syllabus or the curriculum which binds us. That's only from 9th to 12th. The remaining part is with us.
Yes.
I want my children to be out in the field. I can be. No one is stopping me. No CBSE, no department, no one is stopping me. It's only our mindset. We as you said, Daksh, that very well, that we have been educated by a previous generation, and we are somewhere in between. We don't know how to bridge that gap. That is the problem. If that is bridged, I think students, they will learn the skill of working with people, because education has been extremely compartmentalized. We still, till today, we are believing only, we want to be a doctor, we want to be an engineer. Why? We have got 2,000 other skills which can be developed, and which can develop new ecosystems in the workforce, in the work market. But we are not looking into that. And, unless we are convinced, we'll not be able to do anything with the parents, will not be able to do with the kids, will not be able to do with anyone, because we are still sitting in the chair and thinking, nahi, mere bacche ko to doctor hi banna hai. The entire, process gets diluted. So, I mean, let's look into those factors. That let's not blame education. We are who are going to make that syllabus. It's we who are going to make that curriculum, and let's do it.
Absolutely. हमने बहुत सारे ब्लॉक अपने दिमाग में खुद बना लिए हैं, और अगर उन्हीं के अंदर हम हमारे छोटे से किले में कह दें, उस किले से थोड़ा सा बाहर निकलना पड़ेगा. कहीं ना कहीं सबको अपनी एस्पिरेशन को बदलना होगा as an individual. Only then that aspirational change or that perception change that we want in people will finally transcend into the society. One of the school leaders very well shared on this platform कि जैसे आपकी जिंदगी में कोविड आया और उसके हॉटस्पॉट्स हो गए, उसी के जैसे स्कूल अब इम्यूनिटी हॉटस्पॉट है, because you are the only institution within your community whom people listen to. वो आपकी बात को सुनना चाहते हैं, वो आपकी बात सुनने को तैयार हैं, वो उस पर एक्सपेरिमेंट करने को तैयार हैं. And when you have that power, I think a school should not let it go to waste. You should most importantly try your best कि कहीं ना कहीं थोड़ा सा चेंज हर दिन भले ही थोड़ा थोड़ा सा हो, लेकिन transcend hota jaye. I think Ranju ma'am wants to add something. Ma'am,
yeah, I just would like to support Aditi ma'am with one small example of being a social media influencer nowadays. The teen generation nowadays are very much, getting into this vlogging and putting up their pictures on Instagram and influencing millions and making millions of their followers. So these are small little skills which have been developed by the students on their own, but now getting a platform for the same to earn money as well. So apart from being always the doctors or the engineers, we have ample, opportunities available in the market in terms of skills. So I just wanted to support with this example. Thank you.
Noted. And yes, अभी ये जितनी skills हैं, इनमें आप सबके अंदर बहुत major एक factor is जो आप आसानी से देखेंगे, ये सारी intuitive skills हैं. इन्हें आपको सिखाना पढ़ाना नहीं पड़ा, ये अपने आप transcend हुई. And this was not by chance, it was by design. In technology, whenever you talk of UX, user experience, that is simply this, that if your technology is not, navigatable by the dumbest person there, then that product is of no use. You should not be in a position to teach technology. If you have to teach technology, then that's not good technology. It should be intuitive. So I think I
would like to say, Mr. Daksh, I would like to add on something. Technology is now everywhere. If you choose any stream like doctor, engineering, anywhere, it's everywhere. It's not for children only. I appreciate all the age groups. All the age groups. This COVID time gave that best learning, whatever the abroad countries were doing. Now Indian have started doing this, be it any age. This is by default, I understand. And if you will see after 5 years or 10 years, you can well imagine, and nobody, you give that schooling for this, for any age group. But yes, it is very important, and one of our respected dignitary said that, curriculum should be the free learning, as Ministry of Education is also coming up with new ideas, experiential learning, project-based learning, learning by doing. So now today's time, I was watching one video, a small little girl, what she raised, why it's man-made, why it's not woman-made, why it's mankind, why it's not, humankind.
Humankind.
So yes, the children are, today's generation is vast, advanced. So sometimes parents feel, how to handle them. And schools are on their toes. Schools are trying to satisfy their needs, parents' needs as well as the students' needs as well. It's a big competitive world. And as man said, I'm sorry, I don't remember the names, but yes, it's only for 11th and 12th, or I would say 9th to 12th, where we are bound with lots of CBSE and all that. But till 8th, we have all the freedom. Activity-based learning, whatever you want to give, convert your learning into the activity-based learning. Connect the life skills and connect the, creative skill or brainstorming or innovation or, n number of skill set is there. This is on us, that how we are delivering the education, the knowledge to our children, to our students. That's it. Thank you very much.
We all must now in some way introduce the process of product development in the school as well. जैसे टेक्नोलॉजी जो प्रोडक्ट डेवलप करती है तो अपना यूजर इंटरफेस, यूजर एक्सपीरियंस का ध्यान रखती है, ऐसे ही हमें भी अब स्टूडेंट एक्सपीरियंस का ध्यान रखना शुरू करना होगा और कहीं ना कहीं उसके इंटरफेस को भी समझना होगा, क्योंकि वो अपने से कई उम्र में कई बड़े लोगों को सुन रहा होता है एंड उसके लिए वो उतना रिलेटेबल नहीं हो पाता. So I think most of the people have added some new points to the discussion. If somebody wants to add right now, they can do it. Otherwise, we are nearly at the end of the call. So I suppose हमने सबकी बातें सुन ही ली हैं. So before this call comes to an end, I would like to tell you a story. और वो स्टोरी शायद कहीं ना कहीं आपसे कहीं जुड़ जाए, या this might inspire you in some way or some teen in some way. This is a story of a girl who started her painting career when she was 9 months old. She had her first painting exhibit when she was just 2 years old, and that exhibit was an absolute sold out show. She had her third exhibit at one of the most respected art galleries in Europe, and that also was a sold out show at the age of 7. She had one more show at one of the biggest galleries in New York at the age of 9. That also was a sold out show. That girl right now is only 13 years old. She's a millionaire, lives in Melbourne, Australia, has never been to a school ever, has been homeschooled, and most importantly, she right now is known as the world's youngest professional painter, and that's Elita Andre. That was on Blub World just some months back. And this is what we simply do. हर महीने कोई ऐसी कहानी ढूंढने की कोशिश करते हैं जो बच्चों में से आए और बच्चों को इंस्पायर करे. So teens inspiring teens. The reason of doing this is very simple. As you all already told, it's not about teaching anymore. It's about mentoring. And when you want to mentor, you need stories. You need that cause and effect relationship to happen. आज से साल भर पहले we started working on an aspiration, और अब वो एक reality बन रहा है. We are trying to build the world's first exclusive parliament of teenagers, and we got support from UNESCO New Delhi office and the UNESCO Mahatma Gandhi Institute and a lot of global organizations who are helping us in creating the world's first exclusive teen parliament. I would like to invite all of you here that if you know a teenager and if you think that he can solve a problem, the World Teen Parliament will back him and will fund him so that he can do that solution and give it to the world. Thank you so much, everybody, for being a part of the Blub World Web Talks 145th episode. If you enjoyed and if you want to attend the future sessions, please open your audio, say a big yes, and thank you so much. Have an amazing evening. Namaste.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the wonderful session.
Thank you. Thank you very much. God bless you.